Looks like we made it. See how far crypto's come, my baby. They said we were dead. Who knows what song that is? That's a horrible song. Well, I shouldn't say horrible. I don't know. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my little crypto show here with Crypto Traders Arena on Tuesday afternoons, a 20 UTC time, I guess is what it is. New York Stock Exchange close happens right now. And I guess every Tuesday for the near future, I'll be doing these shows and also doing the Crypto Weekly Review on Sundays, where we're actually talking. Paul and I are going through the sort of altcoin investment plan that we're working for YouTube. And then this show, I probably take a look at some of the names that we don't get to in those Sunday shows. That show focuses more on like sort of the top 100 market cap coins. And I'm hoping to look at some other stuff that's not necessarily in that list. So got a bunch of stuff could talk about today and a bunch of requests. Hey, DMAC, good to see you. And Christian. Yeah, probably a sort of quiet day, but crypto's looking a little more exciting this week than it did last week, that's for sure. I don't know if it's pumping again on. I was laughing like the BlackRock news today was also fake. I don't know. I hardly pay attention, but I did find it amusing that I guess that's today, right? This somehow the BlackRock iShares trust got added to this DTCC list, which I think I had up here. Yeah, it showed up in this list of ETFs, and then now it's disappeared again already, I guess. But I don't know if this was causing this most recent Bitcoin pump here that happened, I guess, last night, really, for me. Kind of hilarious, and I don't know, maybe BlackRock themselves are the ones that are manipulating price here, but clearly seems to be some fuckery about. But it's funny how fake news is still just causing a pretty uppy reaction. I suppose any news is good news at this point, but funny enough, all Bitcoin really did was come right into like a major technical objective. Just a little later than I had originally thought, but pretty damn good example of a head and shoulders bottom completing, and actually the target was hit right on the money. On Coinbase here, I have this head and shoulders drawn, and you know, head and shoulders price target is just essentially a replication of the head. So you can just draw a 200% extension here, and basically 35,037 on Coinbase was the head and shoulders target, and the high so far is 35,157. So pretty much right on the money, head and shoulders completion. I mean, I don't necessarily think of that as like necessarily short location. I mean, I'll get into that in a minute, but you know, basically just the patterns completed. So if you were some sort of head and shoulders trader, that should have been your profit objective. Doesn't necessarily mean the price has to roll over right here, but if anything, I think that's a really strong market bottom. I mean, we've talked a lot about the Bitcoin bottom over the last year, but I mean, whether or not we're going to make new lows in the future, and who knows. But either way, this is a pretty solid, you know, weekly head and shoulders bottom inside of a reload zone below 61.8. And funny enough, Bitcoin spent so much of its time in the below 61.8 area for this whole rally that we've had this year. Most of that was just done inside the long reload zone of the weekly cycle. So definitely want to be more of a buyer down here than a seller in the investment kind of world. But funny enough, I just fascinated. We just ran right up to that 35K. And of course, 35K is a big fat round number. And then the next thing I'd say is we actually didn't hit 38.2 yet. But I mean, I was for a long time talking about this confluence here, just at, you know, the 38.2 of off the highs drawn to the current low, just sitting right above there at like 35,900. And also just the 35,000 big fat round number kind of idea. And then the head and shoulders target made those three kind of location reasons why price might just zoom up in here. And I was talking about that a lot through here. I thought we might have hit it there, and then surely they just didn't take it up that quick. But funny enough, you know, Bitcoin truly still never broke the downtrend. So we still had higher lows even through this consolidation period most recently. So funny enough, we're still making higher highs and higher lows. So I guess it just had to rip up and complete that level. So I think that's overall. So where does it go from here? I mean, no one knows for sure, right? But I think typically like a 38.2, any move back to 38.2s is sort of like a dead cat bounce, right? So like if you have like sort of a big bear market, regardless of time frame, but on this weekly time frame, we had a pretty epic bear market here, and then now this is basically what is the dead cat bounce, and 38.2 becomes like a pretty key level in general, just to sort of determine of like, have we actually ended this bear market and have we entered into a new uptrend? And like, you can't really say that until 38.2 is sort of taken out. And so I would say this is resistance here is sort of the danger. So the first statement of all this, I guess, is I'd be careful to chase into altcoins. You don't want to, this is not a good time to chase up the altcoins. Like, we'll look at some altcoins here in a bit, but just think of it in the context of like, Bitcoin's actually heading up into what is sort of like the top of a range. We've kind of, if you use just 38.2 in the head and shoulders target, and the 35K level is sort of like a key high, key location for resistance. And keep in mind, that's just against these this old structural break here too, when price, we made like a super key low here and then a lower high, and then we lost that level and just continued into the bear trend. And now we've just sort of made like an M breakdown level here too, where price is actually getting up into. So there's some resistance up here against this level is all I'm saying. So like, certainly chasing Bitcoin right here, you're way late to be thinking about buying Bitcoin here. So just remember that, maybe we get rejected here at 38.2s and altcoins will probably get knocked right back down. There are some uppy things right now. Yes, October sort of did play out for old Bitcoin and crypto, because here we are on last week. Well, we're heading into the last week of October, and I guess, we're making a new high in the year, new yearly high. So, what's my point here? So the main point is that Bitcoin is actually just hit a major sort of objective in price structure, the head and shoulders pattern, and it's also just come up into 38.2. So I don't think you can make great claims. Like, even Twitter's already seeming overly bullish. Definitely everybody's super bullish right here. And I even noticed like CoinMarketCap has their little greed thing. You can even just see it ticking up into greed now. We're already getting up at 67, and it's like people are going to get more and more bullish right here. But we are heading into a place where it wouldn't be a huge surprise to see a bit of a rejection. So we'll see. That's, as it is right now, it's just pointing very up here. I mean, you can kind of, like, if we zoomed in a little bit and just said, that's that head and shoulders target right there. And you can see how now 2 days of just banging up against it and finding resistance here. We're even backing off today now. So just be a little mindful of that, like when you're going and trying to chase the uppy altcoins, because this could all change. We could, if Bitcoin does roll over here, I imagine altcoins are going to run out of gas. But sort of the last thing I'll say on Bitcoin, I think, other than what else can I say here that are, well, that's really it. Just well, I will add in the bigger context. The story hasn't changed. I remember even saying, like, when we were right here, and I was kind of thinking we maybe had rolled over for the year. I do remember saying either way, like specifically whether we ripped up to 38.2 or rolled over here over the last couple of weeks, I still think that this is that accumulation sort of year pattern going on here, and we are carving out a range here where I do think, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised to see price come back down somewhere, and wherever the next W comes in is where the bottom is, in my opinion. And it could be like higher up, or maybe we have to come off more, but I don't know. Maybe BlackRock's doing something funny where they're trying to suck people in so they can dump on everybody here, and then, I don't know, buy back cheaper before the actual announcement. I don't know what's going on, but either way, just using technical analysis, like, and using the idea of 38.2 sort of being like the bull or bear battle line in a sense, like until we're above 38.2 and building like nice market structure or some sort of bull flag setting up here, something, we didn't even really have like a bull flag here. I would say it's just kind of, it was sidewaysy for sure, and maybe even potentially a head and shoulders top if we would have rolled over here. But I don't know. Until we see something to suggest higher, I think we got to be mindful that this is like the top of the range, the local range, like up against these 36,000 levels and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we keep ripping. Or perhaps, there's two established lows here now. Maybe we pull back and set up a third low and then can actually start maybe making like ABCDs up to like 50% levels and stuff. But I think just judging the kind of state of like how far the halving is away and stuff. Like usually the halving, if you go and look at like a monthly chart, the last couple months right before the halving are usually down. It like kind of goes up into it and then down into the halving and then takes off from there. And so maybe something like that's still going to happen, but that would mean like sometime over the next like 4 or 5 months, there would be a little bit of down. And I still think into the end of the year, a little bit of down is pretty realistic. And so the only point I'm really getting at here is just be careful chasing altcoins. That's like my long ass way of, it's like we're getting a little bullish, but you could see the fear and greed thing's already getting kind of greedy. Twitter's already getting really bullish. We're still below 38.2s on Bitcoin here. So just be careful and watch for potential resistance right here. But otherwise, just kind of pointing up. But just back up a little bit. I just mentioned the DXY really quick because I think it's interesting that like we tried to M out here and man, they just clipped the M breakout level and made an M. And then just strong bounce today back up to the sort of highs of the range again. And so this would be an example of 38.2 being tested, actually just kind of to that same conversation with Bitcoin. You could say that this has been sort of an ongoing battle for the DXY. The DXY bounced right up into 38.2, went all the way to 50% level in this case, but still kind of in like the pump chaser zone or dump chaser zone in this case. The battle's here. They're putting in an M right here. So if the DXY can actually roll over, then maybe risk on has more, maybe crypto can continue to catch a bid. But they did make that M. It's funny how they're just taking it all back right away. But point being, this is kind of the same example. Like if we can start bull flagging out here and pushing higher, then 38.2 was resolved bullishly, and we could basically expect higher prices. But like, if we M out here and roll over and lose 38.2, then it's just the downtrend's still intact because we're really just making a higher low a lower high here. So just kind of a battle going on here, and then Bitcoin has that battle going on the opposite. I did think it'd be cool to look at like dominance and stuff really quick, but before that, I'll just say Ethereum really quick. Mostly, I'll just point out that Ethereum is a little different than Bitcoin in the sense that we didn't have the same head and shoulders, but there is this sort of big W working and clearly basing in the reload zones still. But we kind of have like a range here that's a little tighter. I don't know if you want to call like the top of the range right there. You could even use the highs, but I kind of like that level as they kind of FU'd the highs there and just brought it back in the range. And so, same with Ethereum. It's like relatively up here, but we're just getting up into short reload zones and up against the top of the range. So just watching to see what happens here and see if any kind of rejections here just wouldn't be a huge surprise to see. That would be the end of the year that I still think could easily happen. And when you think about looking at this, it just doesn't look as strong as Bitcoin. And I think altcoins are the same. So it's like the altcoins are going to sort of follow the fate of this chart, I bet. If Ethereum rolls over, then most altcoins will also roll over. That's about all I'll say. At that, I guess I could add that, interestingly, just to use like a daily moving average to look at. I'll just say this about, two things. One, we have this current range here on Ethereum. We didn't quite get down to 1,500, but almost did. Which was sort of like a key level that I'd drawn out in some other charts for the last several weeks, actually. But now, we just basically ripped up into 200 moving average resistance here, and there's just going to be a battle there because, the 200 is already rolling over. So if we get rejected here and head back lower, that just means it's just additional confirmation that the trend is rolled over on Ethereum. Now it has to kind of get above that to invalidate that thinking, but also the reload zone's not that far away, so maybe even pops up against this trend line I've drawn here, and 61.8's at 1900. So there is resistance here, is all I'm saying. It's like we're not in a full-blown bull here just because we had Bitcoin rip. Now, this is definitely looking a little bit rolled over. So we'll just see what happens here. There's no trades per se. I could see shorting up in reload zones for sure, like above 61.8. But for now, I'll just wait and see what happens. I'll look at dominance just to mostly say that Bitcoin's definitely in control here. It's not really Ethereum or altcoins. I think dominance shows pretty clearly how just all eyes are on Bitcoin right now. And you can kind of see it going back to 38.2 conversations here too, actually. Perfect example. We ripped up into 38.2, got rejected, and then we did manage to keep make a higher low at least, and now we've made a new high, but we're still in like that dump chaser zone. So tags up into the 50% level would be the next stop, up against like sort of that key low there as well at like 56%. That's just kind of using these fibs as looking for resistance levels, but truthfully Bitcoin dominance is just trending higher, and I expect kind of Bitcoin to sort of have the sort of all attention on it as opposed to like the rest of crypto, I think, especially with this BlackRock stuff. Until those silly ETFs are like, whatever the news is going to be and whenever it's going to be, I feel like that has to resolve. And it's going to probably take, most of the attention will probably be on Bitcoin during that, the rest of the year here. And of course, even into the halving. So that's just, dominance is a good way of just seeing how Bitcoin is definitely in control here, and certainly isn't rolling over yet by any means. We're getting up into this dump chaser zone where maybe we can look for a rollover, but I don't know. It's ripping. I will say that we did kind of like Ethereum has a range like this. It's like once we got outside of the range and even came down and checked that range, that was like the confirmation that you need, that like Ethereum kind of needs to be a bull again. We got outside of the range, basically put in giant W's, and then checked that range and moved higher. So now we've established this wider range as being, valid. And actually, and I'll make this point with altcoins here in a minute, but this is what a lot of altcoins are kind of getting up into this area here, where they're basically testing their recent highs. And it's just sort of like, this is a horrible place to be chasing, because it's like, yeah, we might be getting like kind of W breakouts, but they could likely be fake outs back down into the range. So it's hard to chase right here. And you'll see that in some altcoins I show you here in a bit. But point being with dominance is just ripping up. And ETH versus BTC shows kind of the opposite, which is what we'd expect. And here this is like sort of the example using that 38.2 level. Also, we had an uptrend in Ethereum versus BTC going back here in like 21, and then came down, checked 50% level. Sorry, checked the pump chaser zone, tried to hold on to the uptrend, and then made it our way all the way back down, and now we're losing it again. So and that's actually a giant M that could potentially come in if we lose that level. So this is kind of like, again, this is also showing Bitcoin as having the attention on it as opposed to Ethereum and altcoins, I'd say. But kind of looks like reload zones, 61.8 levels back against these old highs of 43 cents is the next stop here. We'll see what happens when they eat this tail, and maybe it can bounce here, but it kind of looks like open air down to here. So we'll just see what happens. But the more until this W's, it's like you need this to W out and dominance to M out, and for altcoins to look a little bit better, to start thinking about like alt seasons and stuff. And I also thought it'd be fun to just look at the market cap stuff just for fun. I don't normally look at these kind of things, but really all like this is a pretty good example of testing the top of the range, and it could turn into a fake out. Like so far, they've FU'd the highs here, but it's not really a solid, strong breakout here. And so all I'll say about total market cap, really, I mean, this is the entire crypto market, is geez, it looks kind of head and shoulders-y in its own right, and it has a lot of room to the upside. So the good news for us crypto bulls here is like that kind of looks more like a bottom than a top, right? So we could see, I don't know, 1.6 trillion market cap is just up here at 38.2. So, and moves up to 50% levels, like 1.86 trillion, quite a big move. So if this head and shoulders does actually start, if we can get outside of the range and start building above there, then this is good news in general for the crypto market, I'd say. Just looks kind of bottomy and looks like it has a lot of upside. And that's what we want to see right into the halving anyway. We're kind of thinking that Bitcoin will rally around the halving. And it would make sense that crypto market cap would have room to the upside into next year. So that looks pretty good. I mean, it's not an exact head and shoulders. The neckline's a little steep. But in general, I'm just saying, the top of the range is being tested here now. If it can break out, then it has a lot more room to the upside. You could even draw like ABCDs off of the lows here maybe and just kind of project that 38.2 level. Might not be quite all the way up there. Yeah, so kind of getting up into that area. So maybe, well, I'll just leave it at that. Total market cap looks like it has plenty of room to the upside. That's good news. And then total too, I thought I'd look at because I think it shows, this is minus Bitcoin, but you can kind of see the weakness here, or not weakness, but it's not the same scenario as with Bitcoin included. So I think this also is just sort of showing that Bitcoin's got most of the attention and dominance is rising. Here I kind of see some sort of like triangular pattern or something where it seems like that kind of level up in here is resistance now. There are little W's coming in and maybe, and there are altcoins that look damn good. I'm going to show you some nice looking charts here in a minute. So it's like, definitely looks like everything's on track for the bottom to be coming in here around this end of the year. But, and this kind of supports that, just nice little W. But I do think, until we sort of start getting outside of this little range here, we could easily come up into here and hit resistance and roll over again. I mean, this chart, it would suck to see crypto not hold these lows, but it could happen. We'll just have to see. But if market cap really goes to shit, there's also a lot of downside. So that's kind of a broad look at things that are basically just telling me like, be careful, don't chase. Like even these names I'm going to show you, there's no rush still. I think everything's still on track for kind of like a rangy market, bumping along the bottom here for some sort of amount of time. That's probably going to give us plenty of chances to enter into most altcoins. And clearly Bitcoin's not chaseable here. So if you're like trying to buy Bitcoin, I don't know if right here is a great place to be buying Bitcoin as it heads right into 38.2 resistance. And certainly it's about doubled off the lows, well, more than now. And so it's not really a place you want to be a buyer of Bitcoin. I think if you're patient, there'll probably be another opportunity before the halving to buy Bitcoin on a dip. Who knows though? We'll just have to see what happens. But I'll look at some altcoins really quick too. Did start getting alerts for some weekly W's and stuff, which was cool. Firing this week, so there's some new weekly W's we can look at. And just pulling up crypto bubbles. I like this site. This is the week. This is the last 7 days, I guess, here. So clearly there's tons of green on the screen. There's no huge dumps. I mean, if you look at the monthly, I think like a couple of the recent pumps are dumping now. Like, where did I lose them? Like, that's not showing them now. That's funny. But like, what was the one that, or Loom? Like Loom came off like huge after, it ripped and then it came off like 30-some%. I don't know why that's not showing up in here now, but point being, there's not a lot of big down names here, but there's a lot of green in crypto. I saw somebody, I think Christian somebody was banging out doubles on mine earlier in the New York session, and I think some other things have doubled too. I know I'm getting close to my rune double again. And then AGLD, I guess I technically got a double, but I'm just averaging my costs. I still need a little higher. But I think I saw Christian or somebody saying they got a double on that one. And then also on power, maybe I think Christian, you said? POWR. So anyway, point being, there are some coins that are popping off. I mean, look at Link. Link's been strong. It's like an example of breaking out of the range. We'll look at that in a minute. It's one that's sort of already made it out of the range, although it could still be a fake out. This CFX, I think I saw the THG guys were trading, perhaps. I think maybe that one. But point being, if you were like trading daily W's and stuff here the last couple of weeks, you probably had some good trades. Definitely a lot of shit up here, double digits. APT's one that we've been getting long on recently. I'll look at Sol here in a minute because I want to look at Sol's range too. That's been strong the last couple days or a couple weeks, sorry. So point being, there's several names are up 30%. Remember when I looked at this last week, it was like 6% was like the most uppy name. So like when Bitcoin did decide to rip, it drug up a lot of this stuff with it. And there's a lot of W's firing, like I was saying, but let's look at like Link really quick. And I just want to make a point about these ranges. So like, I think Link would be a good one to start with, because I think really the question now is like, are these ranges true breakouts or are they going to be fake outs? Like, are we ready to start trending higher, or do these markets still need more sideways? I think that's the question to ask yourself, really. I mean, yes, the location's good on most altcoins already, so we already know we have good buying location. We're not sellers of altcoins down at these levels. It's just a question of like, are we ready to trend higher or just still be in this accumulation phase? And so a lot of names look kind of like this, where there's this range sort of becomes like the W's, but there's like a top of the range that we're heading up into. And like Link got outside of it and closed outside of it yesterday even. Or this is weekly, sorry, closed outside of it on Sunday. And now we're just kind of putting in what could end up being sort of a shooting star. I mean, a 3-bar fractal if we close inside the range. So I'd be watching something like Link here. It's been relatively strong here the last several weeks, really. Watch this and see if it closes back inside the range. That'll be a good tell for like whether is Link ready to truly go in an uptrend here. It might be. I mean, it's definitely looks awesome chart. I mean, and it's bottoming basically right around 88.6, and the old breakout level is the bottom. There's a power of 3 set up here too. If you kind of take these equal lows, we were buying this in this dip back here on Stefan's power of 3 call, essentially when we lost the downside of the range and closed back in it, and then it produced that move. But anyway, back to my point here. It's like, are we starting an uptrend here, or are we just going to fake out back into the range? So this Link's a good chart to follow for that, because it was one of the first ones to break this range. Like another one would be Aave. I don't know if Aave is broken out yet. Strong. No, see how like this is one that again, these are like, I don't know. Do you want to chase Aave right here? Like you could have bought this W at $89, but I could easily see it just coming right back down to reload zone. So this is why you don't really want to chase something like this, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, they ran it up pretty strong here, and this week it was looking pretty good, and now it's already starting to come back into the range here. So, and we have like kind of all these highs basically are representing as like resistance, I'd say. So wherever you want to draw the range specifically, whether it's even all the way up here, that's quite a bit higher. So like there, you're in the middle of the range, maybe trading up to that level. Okay, maybe. But really, I think just even using the W level itself, waiting to see if this turns out to be a fake out and see what happens to all the altcoins. So like that's another one that looks like that. And Sol's like another one that's also kind of same thing here. It's like Sol's also been quite strong here. And truthfully, like I remember some people making calls at the bottom here at Sol. That's a nice call. I mean, it's not really a setup for me, but stepping in buying Sol at $10 right there was a solid go against the contrarian. That's like solid contrarian go against the grain viewpoint. Everybody's talking shit about Sol, like FTX and all this SBF stuff, and now you're up 3x. But same kind of thing is like, is this a fake out? You can see the traffic over here is just, as we sort of try to make this W here, and we actually have this ugly ass weekly W working too. So there is a bottom here for sure. It's just like, are we ready to truly go into an uptrend yet? I don't know. We're definitely, like I said earlier, we're definitely in the bottoming phase, and like this looks like a nice solid base. Like I like to draw these trend lines off of the W here, and if the third like this always represents a good buy opportunity to me. When you see the W break out and then pullbacks for the third tag of the trend line. In this case, it didn't actually hit the trend line, but it got damn close. So yeah, there's like a bottom here. It's just a question of, you can almost see the weakness. It's only Tuesday, so of course this is a weekly candle. Who knows? Maybe we close outside of the range by the end of the week. But just putting it all in the context of Bitcoin hitting 38.2 right here, that's all I'm trying to do is like, just remember Bitcoin's coming up into a resistance level, and then also these breakouts could easily become fake outs. So if you want to buy these, like I think it's a great opportunity to say, yeah, I want to buy Sol. I think it's just smart to draw fibs and try to not chase. You could, even Mountain Man would be against the trend line here if we can pull back. And I much prefer that style of buying as opposed to just trying to buy this breakout, at $33 and looking for, higher, which to be fair, you could still bang a double. I mean, I don't know. Like if you've got a long enough view and you want to own Sol, then I'm not in that context. It's like, you might not get killed here because you're not chasing like way up here, but you are chasing a little bit in the smaller kind of zoomed in context. But truthfully, look at 88.6 of Sol right here. That's where we're sitting. We're basically sitting right at 88.6, funny enough. So anyway, those are 3 examples of just these kind of ranges I'm seeing in altcoins, which we just have to see if they're going to be true breakouts or not yet. Let's see, like Rune, maybe they'll give me a double, man. Damn. Like they missed me this time. And now Rune's been strong here, so hopefully that one, hopefully I'll bang a double out. It's been I haven't really banged a double out in crypto in a little while here in altcoins. I do have this one, and then AGLD has technically doubled off my 78.6 purchase, but I'm just kind of I got a double in this first run. I really like this one. I want to buy more of it, to be honest. And I'm happy to, I'm going to average these 2 fills. So my double level is probably more like, I don't know, 110 or something up here. So a little higher, but this one looks damn strong too. And this is one of my favorite charts. I've talked about it a lot. This is just like a solid bottom in my opinion. It's already made that whole rounding out bottom that we like to talk about. And a perfect example of how like, they did run it. And if you're just patient enough to buy against like the trend line in reload zones, this thing looks like it's turned. So now it's just a question of, do you get more buying opportunities? I don't know. But I think the bottom's in on something like this. And this thing has like an OBV that looks amazing too. It's just been, constantly trending higher. It's actually lately kind of emmed out a little bit here, but still in the bigger picture is just pointing higher. I didn't mention on those like Sol and Link and all those too is watch your RSI, because they're also very close to already being overbought. So like any much higher in those, and you're going to start seeing overbought conditions in RSI. So that also kind of goes with that. Be careful with playing this breakout here of the range. Those are just 2 strong ones though. Moving on to other ones I wanted to talk about that just, I have some 3 low caps that I want to just share, and then I also have some new weekly W's to share, and then there's a couple in here that I just wanted to mention a couple things about. More just strong. I've talked about KNC a lot lately, but damn, look how nice. That's a nice looking chart. So I don't see any reason to not buy KNC. Maybe we could look at it with some more data somewhere, like, I don't know, maybe Poloniex. That's a kind of weird price action, but yeah, you can kind of see that KNC basically completed its, it made it all the way down against the old breakout levels. So location's really good. It's just, this tail is just a Poloniex thing, it looks like, but no real W yet, because it's sort of a tall W in that same kind of conference. This is sort of similar, like whether you draw like a horizontal support line or even just like a trend line off of these highs, just kind of like that, just to sort of paint resistance here. The same kind of thing, like we got to get above that to be in a bull market. So I don't know if buying KNC right here is necessary. You probably get another chances as this thing goes sideways for a while, but it definitely looks nice. And I've already talked about a lot of these, so I'll just kind of go through them quickly. This is like the only thing I want to say. ZRX. I like this one. I've been nibbling on it a little bit, but it's sort of the same story. It's got to kind of take out at least this high here. It sort of FU'd it and then hasn't been able to get above it. But at least if it takes out that 26-cent high, it's got like a real W here working, and then you can maybe draw some reload zones and buy a pullback and have a little more confirmation. But in general, man, that's like a nice looking chart. I mean, it's all the way down against the old lows. This is on Coinbase. There's probably more data, like maybe like on Bittrex or something. I don't know. Let's see. Could try Poloniex. Not really. Same story though. This was an ICO in 2017, so this is the entire price action. Point being, just all the way back down against the lows, and definitely what a bottom. I mean, I don't know. Like these are what. Like I'm not saying we're going into a bull market tomorrow, but this is what a bottom looks like. If anything, if you learn anything, hopefully you just learn the difference between being a buyer and sort of this type of price action, or even back here, as opposed to being a buyer in this type of price action right here. Like if you're trying to buy, like stuff like that, then you've probably got the wrong idea with this, and you need to maybe learn about trade location. But even just we were doing fib retracements last week in our Capio 1 program, and I mean just simply learning how to use a fib retracement tool, and you can easily see we're well below 88.6. I mean, we're basically just at the very, very bottom of the range. So I love ZRX for that reason, but no full on W yet. And this RSR also kind of, this one has so much upside too. And like, I set my alert here. I want to see it break this weekly W out. So it's not quite there, but man, that's a tight little consolidation that could turn into a W. Now this one is making new lows, so it's not really like ZRX where it's actually got 2 cycles of history where we're down against the old lows. This one's sort of just free falling, so we'll see what happens. Maybe the first W here ends up being a fake out, but either way, like I think if you put OBV on here, you can see how we're in divergences. Probably even confirm this that W here pretty soon. If we break out that W, also have OBV in divergence. But hopefully you can see that. Just a nice W. So I'm just waiting on that alert to fire, really. But man, I'm also not 100% sure I can even buy this one. But look at this shit, man. This one goes from 0019 where it's at right now, even just 50% levels off the highs, like, or 38.2s, we'll say, even just that's up at 4.5 cents. So geez, that's, I don't know how many X's that is. I don't know how to do math, but whoops. I mean, either way, it's 2,200% back to 38.2 about. So geez. So, I mean, doubles to be had, I'm going to wait for that weekly W, like I said, to confirm, but man, this is like, I hate saying stuff like shooting fish in a barrel, because I don't know, maybe crypto goes to zero here, but if you're going to try to be into crypto, and if you want to be a person that's trying to take advantage of the potential upcoming resolution of this accumulation range, I won't even call it a bull market. It's just, I don't want to sound like a shill. I'll just call it a dead cat bounce off of a ugly bear market that's gone on for 2 years. Anyway, fuck. Nice looking chart. Damn. I'll say fucking damn. That's how I shill coins. With the strong, horrible potty mouth language that I've seemed to have developed in my life. I was like hanging out with, like, my friend and his wife were talking about how they couldn't stop cussing in front of their baby, and they just like were realizing how much they were cussing in front of their like 1.5-year-old. And then I ran into them in the park like a day after, and I couldn't stop cussing. Like their baby was with them, and it was just like more kept coming out. And I like was trying to not, and they just kept, the words just kept coming out. And I was just like, Jesus, I can't even, it's like impossible to not cuss. Anyway, DMAX saying Peter Schiff telling us we should sell into this, this is Bitcoin sucker rally. I mean, I don't want to agree with, I don't think Bitcoin's not in a great selling location as an investor. I'm just saying it's come up into resistance, but I don't want to really agree. I mean, Peter Schiff's always hating on Bitcoin, but like, it's not like he's right or wrong, but I don't think 38.2 is not a selling location, by the way. It's just a place where dead cat bounces often run out of gas. But he might be right. Of course he's going to say that. And to be fair, Bitcoin might be lower. I don't know. We might wake up to quite a bit lower prices into the end of the year. So yeah, everybody that buys this sucker rally is going to tax less sell in like a month and a half. When they're underwater. Everybody that's buying Bitcoin right now will be tax less selling a month and a half from now. Anyway, moving on. Actually, DopeX was one on a request from David, but I have it on my list here anyway. This is like a options exchange. It's a horrible name, but it's funny because it's DopeX, but it's not weed. It's actually OPEX for options, decentralized options exchange. I'm like, you guys must not be stoners to name your project Dope. Anyway. So this one on the weekly, I don't know, we could go look at it like on chain or something and probably see more data. This doesn't trade on Binance, I don't believe, and it doesn't trade anywhere that I can easily access it on centralized exchanges. Of course, it is a decentralized options exchange, so hopefully you can buy it somewhere off the exchange. I know you can buy it you can buy it in DeFi land, but the weekly chart doesn't show much. So I have the daily on here, but I just this is like Tetranode. I don't know if you guys know who Tetranode is, but it's a pretty big player in crypto, and this is one of his shills, I think. But either way, you can see the W's coming in. It looks nice to me. OBV is still pointing down. I think we're way too early on this one, but it is like, it seems tradable in the sense there are kind of W's coming in. So, and there is this, I think probably the level, if you were already trying to be long, is down off that $72, the original kind of little W down there somewhere. So it's a little chasey here. And of course we are just kind of coming up into that. You can almost see the fake outs happening right now. That doesn't mean they won't, maybe there's some more gas in the tank here, but it looks like things are kind of cooling down today after they've sort of tested recent highs. But this one, I mean, from a daily chart perspective, I don't see a problem with buying this thing as it pulls back against the W's. But I will say OBV hasn't turned yet. And then I'll also say, if you look at it on a weekly chart, I suppose you actually have a weekly W coming in here. It'd be nice to see a stronger close by the end of the week. So I suppose there is a weekly reason to be interested. Again, not a lot of data here, but let's see if it can get a stronger close. And that I can move this one down to my weekly W list if we can get a stronger close there this week. Just moving on really quick. These are just a couple, like this is another one LTO that's almost a W, so I just want to make people aware of it. I mean, location's really good here. Of course, there's still this red line back on the previous W, which I would almost bet you could get filled there, even if they make this W. I have a feeling they'll just sort of sneak it down there and at least hit it before everything's said and done. And of course, they might go a lot lower. They could still take time to roll this thing out. But either way, I don't have an alert set there. I'm going to make a... And this one I don't think I can buy either, actually, which is kind of annoying. Not easily, at least. Or not on exchanges. I'll just leave it with that. Super awesome OBV divergence. And... we were making new lows here, so OBV is very much in divergence and just super trending higher. I mean, I will say that like a lot of these, you can see the volume just kind of not really, we're still early. That's why the whole don't FOMO. I mean, this is like a horrible time to FOMO. This is when it's like they're trying to create FOMO right now, I'd say. And even the Bitcoin rip here, is sort of trying to do that. It's trying to suck people in. I don't think that's the right approach. I don't think now's the time to FOMO, really, in my opinion. I don't see any reason to chase these things. I mean, this one's buyable right here, to be honest. Like, you're not chasing. It's just you don't have a lot of confirmation yet. You have a location that's pretty decent, but probably going to test this red line here a little lower. That's quite a bit lower. I mean, it's 10% or so. But just want to point out, nice looking chart. Nice W that might be coming in. And I think like Zen, I also have it in kind of the same category where it's like there is sort of a ugly little W that's in now. But it's still basically just really nice location and really nice OBV and kind of WE. And also doesn't really have like the same kind of range. This one's still sort of like it's got like more open air up top because there's not like some sort of like huge resistance level of like in the same sense of like Sol and Link that have been in much more sideways consolidations. So this one might just, if it's going to go soon, it would probably go, or I mean, it could just start going from here pretty easily. And it's just, even just to take, even up to this high right here is almost a double actually. So, if you bought this W for example, at 845, then what is that? 1690. So a little bit, they basically have to just take out those highs a little bit to get a W. I would say play it a little more conservative and wait for a pullback that's probably going to come here. But anywhere down there, I'm certainly buying this one. And this is one that I'm kind of, I have a lot of reasons. So this one's, Zencash, Horizon, I guess it is nowadays. It's not Zencash anymore, which I kind of hate. I liked Zencash. They're like fake Buddhism vibe. Now they're Horizon. But this one only has 20 million coins. So I like the rarity aspect of it. It's 20 million max supply. And then it's backed by Grayscale. And actually, I think that if Grayscale's ETF stuff goes through, I think this will just benefit. I mean, they have a trust. They're not trying to make an ETF of Zen, but they do hold a lot of Zen and they trade. You can go and buy this thing on, what is it? It's HZen, I think. Yeah, Grayscale Horizon Trust, which I noticed it's trading at a premium. I was kind of looking into this the other day and it's I wouldn't buy it here anyway, but it is actually trading at a premium in the trust, which I think is probably a good thing for Zen. But point being, I don't think, especially if you're a US crypto trader, this is a very US-able name. It's on Coinbase. And I mean, you can see the 10x ability of it. And I like that it's only got 21 million out. So I'm a big fan of Zen. I've done really well on Zen since 2017, so I'm kind of always, it's just one that I'm always interested in. And like as far as the tech and stuff, it is interesting. You can go read up on it yourself, but they are making progress. It started out as like a Zcash spinoff, but now it seems to be developing out. Seems nice, quite nicely. I don't know. So anyway, those are just some strong names. Try to move on. I'll talk about these low caps that I wanted to mention today. And so I'm trying to find like some sort of Hail Marys, like 100x type stuff. And I'm kind of looking for I was thinking about like 30 million or less market cap coins that, have tons of upside. And I haven't really dug that deep, but there's a couple that stand out to me as really interesting. Like this Mona is one. Which is Mona Vale. It's not Mona, the old kitty cat crypto coin or whatever. This is Mona Vale. It's got, we'll look at their website in a minute because it's kind of funny. But from a technical standpoint, first I'll just mention the chart, which is pretty straightforward. I mean, there is a W in here. It's ugly. And of course, the breakout got completely taken back here a month ago. And then, of course, they're kind of uppy week like a lot of things, but I suppose I don't know why I have it drawn right. I mean, the W is weird. I don't know if I guess I had it off the candle body if you were kind of thinking of it as candle body W. There's this little W in here, which might even technically have a lower right side. And then, of course, there's this W that's coming in now. And this is actually kind of like Adam and Eve looking. There's a V bottom here. That's Adam. And then the Eve is here coming in now. So pretty classic looking bottom. Uh, and it's supported by OBV divergence, which actually is confirmed. And it looks like RSI divergence too. Actually, not so much divergence in RSI, but definitely Wing here and coming up into the 50 line. And if we can get through there, it'll make this nice wider W in RSI. But mostly just looking at OBV myself, and that's in. So really, I already bought this at this breakout level. But I think it's still, I think it's cheap. Hopefully you can at least see where, I mean, it's ironically, it's not cheap per coin. It's $300 a coin right now, but it's a more expensive coin, which is one reason I like it actually. But hopefully you can at least see the, doubles are up in this area if you buy around where the price is sitting. Just kind of test to that wick, and there's like probably triples in it. I mean, it doesn't have tons and tons of upside, and it is more expensive. So, of course, as it takes off, it's going to get real pricey per coin. Not that that matters so much for crypto, but it will just sort of in people's, I don't know, I don't know, subconsciously, it probably make them more FOMO-y the higher that price looks. But point being, it's probably like good for 3x or something. It's not like necessarily like a 100x type thing, but it could be potentially. And the reason it's so expensive is because there's only 11,000 of them in existence. So pull up this thing really quick. Like, I mean, first of all, it's only got a 3.4 million market cap. So like, I mean, it's probably got, I mean, the chart's showing like 3x back to the highs, but what if this thing becomes the next greatest thing in the world? Like, I mean, and this 3 million goes to 100 million market cap, which isn't even that big, into the next bull market, So this is the kind of stuff that I want to take a shot on, something like this that's like got a technical setup working and tiny market cap, but also like, I mean, here you can see it. There's only 11,300 of this, so it's super rare. It's like there's not a lot of the coins. I like that. That's a huge plus. But also like 10,000 of them are already in circulation. So there's 90% of the coins are already in circulation. So there's not like a big lockup, I guess. And I was kind of looking into it I'm confusing two coins. I didn't look up into this one I was having a hard time finding information about the actual coin itself. But so I don't know much about like, the sort of whales or, the early investors. I don't know if it was an ICO. I don't know any of that stuff. I just know it's on Coinbase, which is a good start for me, just thinking about a 3 million market cap coin on Coinbase. And technically it has plenty of reasons for me to enter into this trade, and there's tons of upside. And then I'll just leave with it's based one, their website makes me feel like a boomer. I can't even understand this shit. So somebody like their website looks cool. I'll give it that. It's actually really awesome. But it's like so hard to understand what's going on. But essentially it's like a fashion. It's oriented in fashion and it's NFTs, but also physical. They're kind of working on sort of like software technology for fashion industry and also just like physical delivery. Like they're working on a marketplace that's like a authenticated physical marketplace where like celebrities could like if I was like when I'm BitBoy's size and I have like 2 million YouTube followers, I could sort of pick like 10 artists on here that could all make t-shirts of my face, and I'd split the process. It would be a marketplace where both me and the artist would get paid, and on like, without a third party, essentially decentralized sort of like kind of like network of like art and clothes and like physical goods. And so it's sort of like in the NFT space, but also kind of fashion, and it just looks cool. And then they have like several projects, and I'll be honest, like it's hard, like I'm like even just reading this wide ass, I mean, maybe it's just my monitor, but I hate the way the text is laid out on this. It's like so busy, and they're using all this shit that makes it seem hard for me to understand, but it almost makes it seem like more exclusive to me. And the fact that it's just this super low share count, coin count, name, with such a tiny market cap, if like anything good happens with these people in the next couple of years, I imagine that 3 million market cap could become 30 million pretty easy. So anyway, it's just one that I like, and it certainly looks cool. So maybe do your own due diligence, but and of course it's a punt, like all of these. It's no different than anything else, but the technical reasons are there. So there's one tiny cap, really micro cap actually, and I'll just share two more that this is another one that's ERN, it's Eternity, which is like a Vitalik's Lisp. Eternity. This one's actually like also kind of NFT related. This one has a 30 million market cap, and I can't remember the exact coin count, but it's pretty low. We'll look at that in a minute. But from a technical perspective, I've talked about this one actually, I think, on this show before, but I think really waiting for another weekly W to come in here right at that level. So it's like sort of not broken out yet. I think that's not even truly a weekly W because they did take out the low there. I bought this ugly W originally. There's like a steep looking W, not a great looking W, but I went and bought there and then also on the pullback here. So I have a couple bids filled in this area, but I'm just kind of buying it against the lows. And you can see OBV's just been pointing up basically, and it's just carving out a nice bottom with tons of upside. So it's sitting at what, $1, wherever it is, $1.56 right now. I mean, you can see even like a move up into that sort of kilo is 870. So just even back to 38.2s and 50% levels, pretty substantial, 4 or 5x or something. So anyway, that's technical reasons, and you can easily see how doubles too are just moves back to the old highs. So like if you're buying $1.50, you only need like not even those candle body highs to get a double. So doubles are very doable off here. Doable doubles. So anyway, there's earn, and then I'll just look at it really quick right here and just show you that. And this one is it's an ERC20, but it's not. But they're their own layer 1, I think. It's like it's a marketplace for NFTs as well, so it's definitely in that sort of vein of NFTs. I mean, they've got it categorized as gaming here. This one's a little bigger than that Mona. It's got 29 million, so it's like already 10 times the size as Mona, but it's still tiny. And I think 30 million is kind of my micro cap cutoff or something. 30 million and below would be like micro caps, I guess. I don't know. This one has 30 million coins out, so also very low, which I am targeting ones that, like in my mind, like a low coin count and a smaller market cap with technical reasons to take the trade. Those are kind of like sort of three things I'm looking for with these sort of trades. About 2/3 of the supply is already out in circulation. So there still is, there's 20 million circulating and there's 30 million. And this was the one I was looking at, the unlocks, and most of the unlocks have already happened. So most of the original money in this already has their coins unlocked. They're long from like 5x below or something. I can't remember. They're long from like 40 cents or 30. I can't remember exactly, but quite a bit lower than here. So they're up. If I remember correctly, it was like the original buyers of the token are like up like 5x right now. But I think everything's basically unlocked, or at least right around here, because it was a 24 on the longest unlock was 24 months, and this thing's been around. I suppose I didn't look at like some of the other ones like this, but I usually look here and just look at the whole history, and you can kind of see this thing's all the way bumped back down to $1.50. It opened up at $6.30, so it opened up higher, and so it's basically been kicked in the nuts completely. But it did get up to $60 in 2021. So there's a 50, I don't know, 30 plus X. I don't even know, whatever. There's a lot of X's back to the highs, and I don't know. Looks interesting to me. Do your own due diligence for the FA stuff. I kind of was reading about it, looking at it a little bit, but this one looks pretty good for like a Hail Mary punt. And then I had one more that I just stumbled on today. And these are all kind of Coinbase available. So these are sort of geared for US people too. Uh, I don't know. Like Earn is on Binance. Mona's not. This one I'm not sure about. This one's kind of and this one I don't know much about it at all. I just kind of stumbled on it and noticed one, it's almost got a weekly W. So technically it kind of ticked through to make a little weekly W here, but that's not a very good looking bottom yet. There's still tons of time to let this thing bump around, but nonetheless, even if you bought that breakout, a double's just a little higher here. Just take out these little highs here one day and you could get your double off. And OBV's in potential divergence and trying to turn, so it's a little early, I'd say. This could easily just crap out and continue grinding lower, so I'm going to wait for a true bottom. But what caught my eye, I think, with this one is just the same kind of thing. Low market cap and low coin count. And this one's a layer one, I think, actually. I can't remember what this one is exactly. It's in entertainment. This one's only got 12 million market cap. And I mean, it has 4.5 million in volume. So it is like people are trading it today, a little bit. This one has higher coin count, actually. Sorry, 1 billion, but it's almost completely in circulation. And it's just low market cap. So I don't know. Like you saw on the chart, I think, what was the highs here? Yeah, $2. It was $2 in 2021, and now it's at 1 cent. So this one could be a potential 100xer if it can get its shit together in any way. I don't know exactly. This one is I feel like this one was some sort of marketplace as well. I mean, it's on Cosmos. So this is its own. It's like a layer one. I don't know much about it. It's just one that caught my eye today. So anyway, there's and really it was the almost weekly W that's now looking kind of ugly. That looked a little bit better. So anyway, there's three. Those are three that I'm gonna try to find more of these. These are just three that I like. This Mona, I kind of wanted to buy it last cycle and missed it. I remember it was like only on chain then, but I remember like kind of getting interested in it back then and missing it. And then now that it's back down at levels that are reasonable, I like that one. So I'm going to buy that one for sure. Well, I've already bought that one. I'm going to keep buying it. And then Earn, I'm also going to keep, I have room to add that one too. And then this one, I haven't done anything yet, but I'll just wait for a real bottom on this one. So anyway, there's the three low caps, that seem intriguing, and then I'll just kind of quickly go through some weekly W's well, not all of these are brand new. Some of these are from last week, but I'll just go through the ones that are new, I guess. And I'm kind of stoked to see Mana finally kind of looking like a good buy again. And so this is Decentraland. Got an alert fired here on this W. So it's pretty straightforward, right? They took out the lows here just by a hair, and now they're putting in a bottom. RSI is W'd out, and OBV's not really looking like it's completely turned. I mean, technically it's in potential divergence even from there, but it's not, it's kind of like a triangle that's sort of pointing down still in general. So could turn into a big old M in OBV here. But, just zoomed out, you can see that looks pretty good. Maybe look at it with some more history. That was on Coinbase, so probably even just... Well, Bittrex, I know for sure. Probably. Well, that's the US dollar chart, though. It's pretty close. I guess that's... I mean, there was more Mana in the past, I think. But you could see the old bottom here came in around 12 or 13 cents, and it's sitting at 34 now. So it still has room to crap out if this W fails. There's still plenty of room to make lower lows. And it probably will. It's just right here, though, kind of looks like a window to potentially trade if you want to zoom in and try to find. I mean, I think there's kind of a W there that could have been buyable on the daily chart. And now if, you could hunt reload zones here, you can see the divergences came in. So if you're just trying to trade this thing, I think that it's not unreasonable. You have OBV divergence start firing back there. and now we're just in W's. RSI divergence also fired back there, and we have W. And I don't know if you really have like trend lines that are helping you out much. Let's see. I suppose you could draw a trend line off it, these highs, and it's just going to kind of show you resistance. We're right at it right here. So again, this is a good example of why chase this right here. If you're getting FOMO right here and you're buying into this, you're probably going to have to just go underwater right away. But if you're willing to draw reload zones and wait for another chance to buy lower, then I could see it. It might have to waffle around this trend line for a bit and eventually W on the other side, and that'll be like a better time to get involved. But just question whether this W holds or not. But definitely a nice level to think about, especially buying it back if you sold up top. So maybe a little early, but it is a weekly W. So also got, I think I had a request for QTUM as well. And I think specifically David was asking about OBV, so we'll look at that. But before that, I'll just mention this. Well, this is another weekly W that I got an alert for yesterday, I think. And let's see if it closes in above the breakout level. But either way, you're sitting right here at 78.6 off of this range. Nice location with a W. And shit tons of upside on this one too. 240 doubles are just not even. And this is kind of a good, that's the thing, is if you can bank like I was saying, kind of like Link, and Link's like up here testing the old highs right now. I was trying to break out of the range, but if you can find trades where you can get a double before that level, then you're just making the odds of your success a lot better. In this particular case, I suppose if you're buying at 230 here, your doubles are, basically a little bit above this high. So you'd have to get into this wick here. Still seems pretty reasonable though. And QTUM, I don't know much about the FA on this one actually, but it's something I've traded for quite a while, and still have bags from last time around. So anyway, there's another weekly W. Then keep moving on here. Rose is another one I got an alert on. So damn nice looking chart. Damn. So as much as I'm not it's like I said last week, I'm unbearish. I don't know what to call it. I'm not trying to be go pound the table and buy the shit, or you're gonna hate yourselves and miss the epic bull run of a lifetime starting tomorrow. Not really saying that. I could easily see how stuff like this might fail here, and I could easily see how some of those range tests that are happening right now could end up being fake outs. So I'm trying to keep repeating myself about that. But I would be a fool to not at least consider that the bottom's starting to come in here. And if I see, I can't really, this is my bread and butter, I would say, for anytime I could find something that's just come all the way back down to its range lows, even going back to the previous cycle. And now we're making a sideways consolidation kind of channel building and just accumulation period. And then we get a weekly W that's in a tight risk window like that, where, it's the breakout level is 45 cents and the bottom of the W is 36 cents. So, it's 25% or so is the window. Now, I'm not going to use a stop here, but just using that as an example of the size of the W. It's not very, very tall. This is also an Adam and Eve too. V bottom here and W now. That's classic Adam and Eve pattern. Just, that's a pretty common cycle bottom looking thing. I don't know. Looks good to me. So anyway, there's Rose. That one looks nice. I think also you could always draw trend lines to see resistance. Just this is a little higher up. So can you get a double from here up? Not quite. But it looks like trend lines likely resistance, or candle body highs here also resistance. So 80 cents. So it might be hard to squeeze the double out before these highs, but up against this last high. And shit, plenty of upside. So I'm sorry, I said 44 cents. I mean 4.5 cents. 5X's up to 50% levels and stuff like that. So, if any kind of bounce up into, I don't know, 25 cents is 38.2, tons upside. So there's another weekly W. And the rest of these are ones I've already talked about, so I won't spend tons of time. UFT was one we've talked about the last couple weeks. Nice W, just sort of ran out of steam the last couple weeks, but W in a reload zone. I think you could get a double off back to the range highs. Yeah. If you're buying like 25 cents, you're going to get a double off up here. So looks pretty good. I don't have OBV on this chart per se. I think on Binance we could look at that. Yeah, OBV is actually in divergence. Not really divergence, but nice W in OBV and big volume a couple weeks ago. So that one looks pretty good. Bake's one we've been watching. Weekly W is in, starting to come back down into reload zones. OBV divergence is already in. My fibs look like they're in the wrong place, kind of. Whatever I've got drawn there. But what I was going to do anyway is draw some new fibs here and just, maybe hunt. You can see how it's like dipped into Mountain Man here in the reload zone for a little bit. Now it's kind of running out of gas. I'm kind of looking more like I'm going to go on Binance Chain and buy this. I'm not going to work a limit order. So I kind of want to see price just get down towards 78.6, and then I'm interested in this. But if you could access this on Binance, I could see if you're a little more aggressive, maybe like these candle body highs right here, or even those. That's in the reload zone. They've already tested it once. Somewhere there and below, I guess. So 11, 12 cents and below for Bake. This one also has shit tons of upside, and I think it's getting involved with Coinbase's chain. Man, this one has a lot of upside. So that's 12 cents, but like 38.2 is at 329. So like down the road, could you see price getting up even into those kind of levels? I can. So lots of upside on old Bake. And Bancor is sort of like, I guess it does have a weekly W, so it's wide and kind of in. I'm almost about to get a double on this. I think my double level is just a little bit above these highs, so I don't know about chasing right here, and it's even running out of gas, but it's just one that's building a nice sideways consolidation. OBV looks like hell, so I'm not so excited about that to like go out and talk about it too much, but it's basing. And then I just added this one right before I started because I noticed this W. I still have some of this from an airdrop from 2017, I guess. But so I saw it was up a lot on crypto bubbles or whatever, and so I pulled up the chart and I mean, this is actually this isn't a buyable weekly W in the sense that you're kind of chasing up here, but this is a nice wide base is what I'd like to see. I don't know if you could really argue that OBV, I mean, it's in divergence, and actually it's even in confirmed divergence. So that's good. From there to, I don't know, even, just draw it to there. And yeah, we did actually kind of take out the highs. So OBV is definitely pointing higher. And I mean, it has doubled in the last couple of weeks. So nothing to do here except draw reload zones, but it is interesting to see the base. So as it comes back down, I'll consider it. And then I'll hold on to my airdrop that I've had forever. I don't know how high this thing, I think that's as high as it ever got. So like in terms of upside, the highs are like 3 or 4x away. So not as much upside there in that sense, but nice looking bottom. So anyway, wow, I just feel like I ran through a bunch of stuff. But those are all nice looking, man. I have to say they all do look, I didn't show you any bad charts. I mean, some might be a little early, but those are all pretty good examples of like bottoms in progress, I'd say. Which ones you buy? I'm going to buy a little bit of all of them basically, but I can't tell you exactly what to go buy. I did want to just mention a couple crypto stocks really quick too, just to carry on the conversation because I talked about those last week, I think. These are just ones I've actually bought. I did go and buy like more BTCM. This is the miner that I kind of like the most at the moment. Not saying it's the best or that I know what I'm even talking about. It's just one that when I look at the FA numbers on FinViz, this one actually seems the most appealing to me. In terms of the chart, I like the chart. I don't like that it kind of has this weird looming kind of magnet down here, even with some gaps all the way down to 88.6. So certainly this thing could crap out and just end up back down here at $1.90 or so. But where it sits right here, I mean, I basically went and just bought this daily, I've been just kind of targeting this level here, and, just got filled in that little pullback after they had sort of tried to start breaking it out. And I kind of, hopefully you can at least just basically see the reload zone, obviously looking to buy in reload zones. And then I'll just add that really this trade also falls into my like sort of trend confirmation moving average setups, where it's just like we started 200 period moving averages ended the bear market. 200 period moving average basically ended the long standing bear, and we started building a potential new uptrend. And now that we're above, all the moving averages just consolidated in right here, right along Mountain Man, and we started Wing out through the 200 here. So basically just any buys against the 200, in my opinion, are worth a shot if this thing truly could start trending up here. Probably depends on Bitcoin a lot. But point being, I'm buying it, and I think that I can get a double off just with the fill of this gap here. You can see this open air gap right here. If I'm long from 280 or I think my average cost is probably more like 305 now, or somewhere around there. So even if I can stay long from about $3, then a double is just right up into that gap. Of course, there's a bigger gap up higher too, and this shit has, once Bitcoin can truly start taking off, then who knows how high this thing can go. Probably outperform most of the altcoins I've talked about. But we'll see. Anyway, hopefully just looking at that right there, you can see why I might be interested in this. But so I did buy some more of that since I last did this show. And I didn't get to buy any CLSK. I want to buy this one, but I will just, the only thing I want to say about this is it just went right up into this trendline resistance, and now we'll just have to see what it does. Does all of crypto and crypto stocks get knocked right back down? Either way, I was kind of hunting down at my original buy level, which was 316, and they didn't take it down enough, and it's gapped up today, but just right into trendline resistance. So, I mean, in general, this thing, I've talked about this a lot, so there's not much more to add other than the bottom's in my opinion, and even the reload zone test is in progress here. No rush. Probably could wait for a W on the other side of the trend line even, and maybe it has to come all the way back down here, but that nice W here against the old lows, it's good enough for me. And then I bought HUT, which I bought this thing basically right where I was long from my first double. I originally bought the W back here, got completely wrecked on FTX, but I held strong, and eventually they gave me double, and then I basically bought this little W now, and they gapped it up here. So there's a little W in there that I just went and bought below in reload zones. You can see I got a second car fill here. So I got my second car working on this thing. But either way, even for new buyers, I mean, to be fair, there's this downside risk here that could easily get eaten up before this thing truly bottoms. So be mindful of that. That could easily be another 50% down, it looks like, to get they did bring it down against the old bottom already once, but I could see it coming lower here. But that's one that I bought. That's a minor too. And then I've already bought this one. I didn't just buy it yesterday, but it's sitting basically at my level. This is Galaxy Digital. It's not a Bitcoin miner. This is Mike Novogratz's fund or whatever, crypto fund. So it's crypto related and only in Canada. But my whole thing with this one is I think that it's likely it'll get listed on the NASDAQ in the next bull run. Mike Novogratz, billionaire trader guy, total shark, and probably worth paying attention to in general as far as person to follow too and stuff. I don't know. I mean, he got caught up in Luna and probably was a little too much of a shill. I'm sure he made a fortune off Luna, but like he was the guy that got the Luna tattoo and stuff. But point being, this one's not a Bitcoin miner, like I said, but W's are in. They've been in for a while, and it's just sort of sitting right at my level here. But man, that looks like decent place to take a shot here, in my opinion. It's sort of like the last one I just looked at. If all this sort of fails, I mean, for sure, I'm leaving room to consider that it might come down against all these lows here. But, I mean, this is another crypto stock with shit tons of upside. I mean, it's $6 here. So I guess like, you know, I don't know, 2 doubles back to the 50% level, maybe if you're lucky, or something around there. But so maybe not as much upside as some of the other ones I was talking about, or that I just showed you. But look at that gap right there. There's like a gap sitting at 1326 against these old lows. That's your double. So if you can buy anywhere around here at $5, you should be able to get a double off before that gap, and that seems like a reasonable place for price to shoot up into. So anyway, like I said, it's basically sitting at my level. And then the last one that I did buy was Wolf. I've never had this one before. This is a new one for me. It's a Bitcoin miner, and I just hit the W level. And they took all the move back here today. It gapped up this morning and then has just come right back down. But I was going to draw some. I mean, you could see the location's pretty good, but I'm just basically buying W's at or below reload zones. This one happens to be coming in right at 78.6, which I like. Now this is a daily chart, so it's daily W, but hopefully you can just see. I mean, it's gotten crushed here lately. $1.25 with double level up to basically move back to 50% level. So it seems reasonable to me to get a double off and move back to here. So anyway, there's 5 stocks, 4 Bitcoin miners, and then Mike Novogratz's stock, which is only Canada based. So you do have to be able to access that. So anyway, yeah, I bought some crypto stocks. Did I actually buy any crypto per se? Oh, I bought audio. I'll end with that, I guess, and call it a day. I did buy this W. I had mentioned last week that I'm kind of dollar cost averaging into audio because I just like the name. And last week I just pointed out this location. It's just like, geez, if anything, this is a weekly chart, but just kind of came all the way back down against the sort of lows from the end of the last year and the rally that happened, producing nice doubles and almost even a second double, but not quite. Anyway, so I'm buying back my, I did get double off in this rally here and just starting to average back into my position here. But then I also just went and bought this W here, too. We'll see what happens. This is a good example of a nice 3 reason setup. So I'll end with this and just show you guys pretty simple setup. Of course, first and foremost, old W, price location was good. Came all the way back down against the old W, so I don't even have to draw my fibs there, and we're way down at the bottom of the range. So I had good location, and then indicator confirmation. I had 2 RSI divs coming through, and really technically, they didn't confirm until yesterday here on the breakout. So when we popped up through here, we confirmed both of these. But you can see the W there in RSI too. So I had indicator confirmation there. And then I also have a OBV divergence here, which is really more my focus. But you could call this a 4 reason trade really, because I have location, I have RSI divergence, which I would consider like price momentum divergence. So that'd be a second reason. Third reason would be OBV divergence, which is like volume momentum divergence. So these 2 are kind of similar reasons. They're not completely different types of reasons, but they're sort of different. And then of course market structure W. Third reason being just buy the W, and really this will probably come back down anyway, and I would expect like a Wyckoff check here over the next few days to sort of test that breakout level and see if this thing has any gas in the tank. But if it does, I'm not even really working a hard target on here. If it does decide to take off, I'm just going to try to ride it. But I'll walk away. I'm just going to risk to the lows because, like I said, I'm also building a position here. I just said it, building a position. Not on leverage, Paul, though. Don't get mad at me. I'm also sort of acquiring this for like sell highs on doubles type stuff, and then I'm just gonna take this trade risk to these lows, just give myself a little bit of room if this W fails. I don't mind that, but as far as trade goes, probably like a 3-1 up against the highs here isn't that unreasonable. So there's a swing trade that I put on that's probably still pretty tradable. Very likely that they'll test that breakout level. But I think that's a reasonable trade idea, right? Like I got location indicator confirmation and market structure W on a daily chart that works for me. So anyway, I'll leave it at that audio. And I feel like I went through a lot of names. I didn't really catch up with the I didn't really check in with the comments too much. So sorry if you guys. Oh, and also David, I didn't get to. David had a bunch of requests. So I guess I'm not going to get to those today. I will answer your question, I guess, though, because you did ask me. Let's see. Have you ever been in a period where BTC hits its year high and shitcoins start forming weekly W? I'm asking because I feel like shitcoins will get wrecked once BTC retraces. Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point I was actually sort of trying to make the whole time about these range. Well, we know. So Bitcoin did just make a year high, right? It did go to a yearly high now. So I think I know what you're asking me here, but so you're saying, have you ever seen a period where BTC hits a year high, which it just did, and shitcoins start forming weekly W's, which I just showed you, they're forming weekly W's. So this is the exact scenario you're talking about, I guess. What happens if BTC retraces? So yeah, this is that whole thing. So this is why we really just, I mean, either way, I'm going to buy the ones I just, so first and foremost, either way, I'm going to buy the W's I just showed you if I haven't already bought them. I'm going to trade these W's, but I 100% fully think that if BTC fails right here, there's a good chance those weekly W's end up failing. But it's not so much failing as like maybe, going back to, well, okay, anyway, back up a bit. What you're describing can easily happen. If Bitcoin gets knocked back down, then a lot of those weekly W's are going to be tested and possibly fail. And also could get really ugly if Bitcoin really, like if this was some sort of scam pump that's just sucking people in so that they can dump on everybody, and we do see like a rather substantial pullback, then altcoins are probably going to get hit pretty hard. So I think the best way to look at this is that's what I was trying to explain. Let's just wait and see what happens at 38.2 here before we really make big claims about alt seasons and stuff like that, and just kind of work our plans, to not take too much risk. Whether that's your dollar cost averaging or you're taking tiny nibbles or just, because in general, I still do, I still think there's a really likely chance that we get this kind of range. It just ranges off 38.2, which is what we'd want to see. And then there's some sort of bottom later. Maybe it's not that low, but this is kind of seems like what might be playing out. So watch this area closely. This is why this is such an important level. In order for alt season to happen, I would imagine Bitcoin has to at least just calm, or if Bitcoin keeps pushing higher, I don't know if that'll trigger an alt season. I almost think alt season would be triggered by this. Like if we can just sort of gently roll over and start letting those altcoins truly base here without Bitcoin shooting straight up. Because if Bitcoin does just shoot straight up here, altcoins will probably also get hit. Maybe not. So I don't know if I answered your question 100% other than saying it's absolutely possible. And remember, I like to say that it's not uncommon for the first weekly W to fail. So like going back to one of my, like Mana would be a good example. Like what are the chances of Mana's W failing? Probably relatively good. Like, I don't know. I'm like, that's a nice weekly W. However, it's also the first W after a pretty painful downtrend. And, could this ultimately be a fake out where they have to test lows and set up a lower W somewhere else against the old lows? Because, yeah, if I look at Mana again, back on something with more history, of course, I picked the worst one to look at. I mean, you could see there is. So like, yeah, if this W fails, there's still room to move down. So, and it's not uncommon for the first one to fail. So I don't know. There's a relatively decent possibility it will. And also if Bitcoin gets completely rejected at 38.2, it'll probably sort of take the wind out of these here for a bit. I don't know. As long as it's not like full on like panic session, maybe these things have already gotten kicked so down in the dumps. We'll just have to see, but it certainly is a possibility. That's why I try to just keep framing the same narrative of like, and kind of like bottom comes in sort of several months before the Bitcoin halving. That's next April. Tax loss selling is probably going to be relatively real this year because there probably is a lot of people that are bag holding, people that bought into the first quarter altcoin rallies, people that chase those up markets, things like Render or something, they're going to probably be dumping if they haven't already. But like tax loss selling becomes real for those kind of names. And even Bitcoin, like, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that were getting long Bitcoin even right now. Like I was kind of kidding earlier, but it is real. People that are buying Bitcoin right now might be tax loss selling in a couple months. So I do think the tax loss selling thing is probably going to put pressure on the market. So anyway, like I'm going to buy weekly W's either way, and I'm going to try to time it kind of more into the end of the year if I'm lucky. Like if everything goes accordingly, I would like to see Bitcoin just sort of calm down here for a while. Now that 38.2 has been tested, just let it like sort of sidewaysy and let altcoins truly set up better. So I don't know. Hopefully that's somewhat of an answer, but. And as far as your requests, maybe I'll get to those another day. There's too many, and I've already kind of talked my whole hour and a half, so I think I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully I offered some kind of value here. I'm just doing my best to, I don't know, share my opinion the way I see it and try to keep my head in check and, I don't know, just keep plugging away here as we do, just kind of grind each week. We get closer to the time where we can be more bullish. I can't be like super bull here yet, but I certainly think being a buyer here is a good idea. So get your plans in order. If you don't have any kind of trading plan at all, then I highly recommend you get in gear and start learning right now, because this is the time to be, preparing, and you're not too late. Don't wait until you are actually too late. Like if you're interested about trading, if you want to invest in crypto and you want to be around when the general public starts hearing about like, the amazing gains that everybody's making and all the stupid stories and all the, sort of general media jumping on the bandwagon, that'll be when you're way too late. So now you got to just listen to people like me when no one cares. You got to be like one of our 300 subscribers. I'm just kidding, but nobody gives a shit about crypto right now. So even now, there's a little bit more. Like this week, things got a little bit more heated up, and like it seems like Twitter's popping off a little harder right now. But in general, we're still in a place where there's not that much interest in crypto. So now is the time to just, even just learn the basic shit I talk about in these shows. Learn how to discover good trade location. Learn some basic market structure conversations, like what do these typical patterns look like this head and shoulders bottom, for example. And if you could combine, good Fibonacci location with market structure, that puts you way ahead of the game if you just learn those two concepts. And then you could start learning like indicator confirmation for additional confirmation. But just even learning those three things, and then going and looking at our Road to Financial Freedom trading plan in our Discord and just kind of reading that plan and sort of building off of that, even just even directly copying it if you really want, of course, if you want to copy that plan, the information's all there, the levels are all there, and then there's a video every Sunday being made that explain our thinking. And you certainly could follow along with that. That's sort of the intention of it. But I mean, you have to remember that we're just calling out some levels on 100+ different names, and we're taking very small risk in each one. And we're also only using an initial capital base that's within our ability to lose without wrecking ourselves. And, we're basically just practicing healthy risk management. So if you're not going to, if you want to copy this plan, but you don't follow your own derived risk management rules and strategies, then, it's up to you to handle that. We're not giving any sort of advice, or I'm happy to share levels with you, but or let me back up a bit. If you learn the 3 things I was just talking about, but don't include risk management with those, then there's no point. So you kind of have to, you need to learn the technical parts, but also like you have to build a risk management plan and a trading plan to work from. And I'm just trying to help you sort of get to that place where you can do that on your own. So that's sort of the intention of our school program. And it's also just sort of what we do in our group, just with, anybody that's new that wants to learn this stuff. We're basically just trying to get you the tools to, so that you can build your own plan. Like it's not copying's, you might get away with copying. You could copy our Road to Financial Freedom plan pretty easily, but like, that's also a super slowed down, super easy plan to work, and pretty easy to stay out of trouble if you truly follow it. But of course, we can't really control whether you follow it or not. Just, you can't be mad at us later when you didn't follow healthy risk management and like it didn't work out for you, or maybe you just half-ass followed the plan. Anyway, point being, I guess I'm trying to give some sort of shit disclaimer. This isn't financial advice. I always hate saying that. It's just, I'm trying to give you just sort of tools that you can use. Definitely not advice, but that was a tangent. Really, I'm trying to just say that now is the time to work on all that stuff. If you don't have that shit in place, you might as well get your ass in gear fast, because you're going to run out of time. Every week that goes by, we're getting closer and closer to the point where the bottom truly will be in. And maybe it already is, but either way, we're getting closer and closer to the time that might come here in the future where it's too late. So anyhow, hopefully that makes some sense. If it doesn't, feel free to reach out to us, and if you want to learn more about building a trading plan and stuff like that, we're happy to help you if we can. So I guess with that said, you can always go to cryptotradersarena.com. That's the quickest way to find us. And if you're new to our community, then it's an online Discord channel, and you can join the Discord room through our website. And of course, that's our sort of free side, and then we also have a paid side of our site, which we do teach people how to trade, and then also just trade every day. And most of the focus on that side of the community is on trading setups and anything from swing trading all the way up to scalping, lower time frames. That's kind of the bulk of the focus of our sort of premium side of our group. And of course, if you really want to take it all the way, we do have a small group that Stefan and Paul basically lead through a trading plan. So they're basically, picking entries and exits and setups for the group to take. So if you're interested in that, you could always reach out to Stefan and talk to him more about our VIP program, which with that said, that's a great example of how if you want to be a VIP trader at Crypto Traders Arena, then you have to also know how to practice good risk management. They'll tell you what trades to take in that case, but they can't click the mouse for you and actually size your position for you, and actually even get you to exit when you get stopped out, or take profit when you need to. At the end of the day, it'll still be you that actually has to pull the trigger. So even then, you're still required to do some work on your part. You can never get away from it. So if you want to trade, hopefully you're willing to put some work in, because I don't know how to say it any other way, but this fucking shit is hard, and there's no easy way out. The only way to make it easier is by kind of doing all the work on the front end to get your act in gear. And a lot of that is actually emotional. It's not even about technical analysis. And so, there's a lot of parts components of trading that are beyond just looking at charts, which is what we kind of spend a lot of time doing, and I spend a lot of time talking about on YouTube. So anyway, I guess that's a spiel for our community that we are building here, and we have a lot of, I don't know, big plans for the future. So, join us on our journey if you'd like, and we'd love to have you around for the bull market once, I don't know, it'd be nothing, there won't be anything cooler than when the bull market's fully ripping and there's a solid group of traders that have put the work in and have actually grinded through this bear market, whether it was learning or paper trading or live trading and scalping and, learning setups and learning how to trade, whatever place you are in the journey. It'll just be cool to see all those people that are doing that right now reap the benefits later, when we're actually probably our community will probably be growing at a way faster rate at that point. But yeah, most of the new members are going to be coming into a topping phase of the market, which is like not the best. I mean, you don't want to be joining communities right here. That's what most of the public will do, right? They're going to go and join a community like ours and start trying to learn how to trade up here. And it becomes so difficult. One, there's less trade opportunities because everything's already taken off. But then two, it's like you're dealing with FOMO issues and, you've already missed, you're going to be seeing everybody else long off the bottom and you're going to be late to the game. So it's going to suck for those people. So if you're hearing this at all right now and you're serious about doing this shit, I'm not saying join our community or not, but whether you, do or don't, either way, now's the time to be putting the work in. So just a reminder for everybody, myself included. And I'll just leave it at that. So I don't know, probably talked way too long as usual, but yeah, Paul's saying reach out to either Paul or either one of us about our Capio 1 is our sort of entry level trading program. And then, we'll be firing up another one of those in I don't know, probably at the beginning of the year or something. No set date yet. But and just reach out to me if you want to meet with me and talk to me about why you might want to do Capio 1 or not, then feel free to reach out to me and I'll happily at least get a feel for where you are in your trading and like where you're trying to get and whether or not our entry level program is right for you. We're not really hard selling people. For us, it's more about building the community, and we sort of feel like one of the best ways to build a strong trading community is by, if we sort of kind of treat it like a training program where people can kind of jump on board from scratch without having any experience, and then, come out the other end of it as a professional trader and then just be part of our ever growing group of professional traders that we're trying to put together. Cause like, unlike I don't know, like, me personally, I'm not speaking for Paul or Stefani even right here, but, I kind of I would like, there's a lot of groups that you can just join on Discord and most people are lurkers and, it's like, there's a couple people that are spoon feeding information or ideas or however the groups work, every group's different, but there's a lot of groups you can join that don't seem to be emphasizing like each member's sort of actual what should I say, like trading, like what am I getting at here? I'm trying to say, like, I'd rather have our group be like a group of solid traders that everybody is actually just practicing their craft and working on trading. They're not just trying to kind of lurk and get sort of like brilliant calls. There's going to be a lot of brilliant calls, but like they can be coming from any of us is the cool thing. If we build a group of solid traders, then like all of us can kind of sit back and sort of take advantage of everyone's ideas, So in my opinion, that's sort of what I want to see our group become is just like hardcore people that are just showing up. Like, it's almost like, we're all self-employed as traders. We have to do it on our own. So it's almost like a guild or something, or like a clubhouse of like people that are all sort of on the same journey and they can share experiences and learn from each other and just perfect their craft. And if somebody's struggling, they can sort of lean on the people around them for trying to put the pieces together, what they're missing and what they need to work on. And so, yeah, it's like a guild. I don't know if people that don't speak English know what a guild is, but or who's maybe don't speak perfect English, but like a guild is kind of like a carpenter's guild would be a group of like skilled carpenters, you know, and you have to be like a journeyman carpenter. I want to find a bunch of journeyman traders to be part of our community. And if we have to teach everybody to find those people, then that's, I guess, what we're doing. So that's sort of why we're trying to teach people. I don't look at it as like, yeah, you take our class and then you go off on your merry way and hopefully do okay in the market. It's more like you take our training program so that you can be part of something that's already kind of up and running and functioning with like-minded ideas. You've learned the basic ways that we approach the market so that you can kind of join the conversation with everybody else. Because we already know that the sort of content works. Like if you're willing to put the work in and actually get in control of your behavior, work from a plan, build consistency if you're having issues with consistency. If you're willing to do all those sort of hard things that we can't force you to do, we know that the actual process works. It's just a matter of whether or not you can implement it or not. And so, we can teach you the nuts and bolts of it, but we can't really force you to do those things. So it's sort of like it's a hard part about teaching people to trade, I suppose. Anyway, fuck. Now I just talked for another 10 minutes. So sorry, guys. I'll leave it at that. And just thanks for joining me on my own journey of trying to talk about this shit on YouTube. And hopefully I'm providing some kind of value. And I'll keep working at it myself as well, just trying to get better at it. And I'll leave it at that. So I'll see you guys tomorrow in the New York session if you are in our group. And other than that, I'll be back on Sunday with Paul at 16 UTC to talk more about our crypto plan. And then I suppose, and then I do want to remind everybody about Paul's video, actually, because Paul makes a daily plan video 5 days a week around the London Open, which highlights a lot of like some really killer crypto swing trades, for example, over the last month. If you were watching those shows, you would have been turned on to some ideas that are paying handsomely now that we're actually kind of rallying here. So don't forget about those. That's just on our YouTube channel 5 days a week. And he just kind of highlights trade levels for the day and some ideas, some trade ideas. So check that out. Also join our Discord if you want to sort of chat with us. And then if you do want more trade, go way deeper down the rabbit hole, consider joining our premium group, and you'll actually have more access to live trading sessions every day and also a lot more trade ideas. So anyway, thanks again, and I will say bye for now and just talk to y'all later. So take care.